I would like to note that the interpreter for this evening is Melissa Zarate. Ms. Zarate, could you please raise your hand in the back? Thank you. And please ask her for any listening device if you would like interpretation services. Antes de llamar a la Junta a orden, me gustaría notar que contamos con los servicios de la señora Zarate, que está sentado atrás. I'd like to call this meeting to order for the City Council meeting of January 21st, 2025. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Councilmember Aguilar Hernandez. Here. Councilmember Escobedo.
Here.
Councilmember Flores.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Soto.
Here.
Mayor Patino.
Here. City Attorney, Mr. Watson, could you please give us the closed session report?
Yes, Madam Mayor, thank you. With respect to item 3A, which was
Will be presented by Councilmember Flores. You can sit there and read it.
So I'm going to go ahead and read the proclamation for the respect of life for Mr. John Lindgren. Is Mr. Lindgren here?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So it says, whereas for over 36 years, the Central Coast Citizen for Family and Life have been celebrating the Respect for Life Week in Santa Maria, and whereas imperative that the residents of the community defend human life at all ages and conditions of dependency and protect the disabled, the handicapped, and those defenseless in every way. And whereas this year's Life Walk 2025 is scheduled for Sunday, June 29th at 2 p.m. in the City Hall courtyard, and Respect for Life Week is being celebrated January 19th through January 25th. And whereas Respect for Life is a vital issue that invites full public awareness. Now, therefore, I, Alice Patino, Mayor of the City of Santa Maria, hereby recognize the week of January 19th through January 21st, 2025 as Respect for Life Week in the City of Santa Maria, and encourages full awareness of this time. In witness thereof, I have hereunto set my hand and have caused the seal of the City of Santa Maria to be fixed here until the 21st day of January 2025. Our Mayor, Alice Patino.
What a way to start the year. Huh? And I would be remiss if I didn't thank my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ for giving me this opportunity and giving the City Council the opportunity to value human life as sacred, because it is. And we don't just talk about life from the beginning, we also talk about life in its golden years, both which are in peril at times, but we want to make sure that we humanize that aspect as well. So I want to thank Mayor Patino again for giving this opportunity. Mayor Patino, we certainly had an army praying for you to be sitting in that seat once again, and we're grateful that you are. Thank you.
Thank you.
Also, the City Council members, we thank you for being here, and your service to our city is very welcomed, and we're thankful that you are here as well. We also want to thank the Lord for our new president and all that he will bring to the life issue. and thankful that God has raised him up once again to be our president. In the spirit of unity and just really wanting to be positive in the new year, I just want to continue to let everyone know that we are 100% ready and willing and able to help those that are less fortunate, to help those who don't have a voice, to be that voice for them. We're grateful to the opportunities that we're given, and we'll continue to be there for them. We want to learn from the past, not live there. We want to extend a helping hand for the future, and that's what we are excited to do. There are a couple meetings coming up that I'd like to invite Mayor Patino, perhaps, and the council members. We have a board meeting for our ministry, our organization, on Thursday, February 20th at 6:30 at Calvary Chapel. We want to have a meeting of how we can best formulate a plan for the new year in support of life. Also, as was read in the proclamation about Life Walk, which is happening Sunday, June 29th this year. We're excited about that. Mayor Patino, you've been gracious enough to visit and to say words at the past Life Walks, and we certainly invite you as well as the council members to come to that as well and speak. I would like to also give these buttons, one of which I'm wearing, that says God doesn't make mistakes, choose life, to each council member. If I could have somebody come down and give that to them, please. Thank you. And again, we're really grateful and thankful for this opportunity. And the last thing I would like to do is I would like to give the council members a blessing. And this blessing comes from Numbers 6:24 through 26. And the greatest way to receive this blessing, and certainly everybody can join in, is to stand up and to extend your hands, if you would. Again, from Numbers 6:24 through 26, a blessing from the Lord for our city. The Lord bless me and keep you. The Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you, and be gracious unto you. The Lord lift up his countenance upon you and will give thee peace. God bless you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And the next proclamation will be presented by Councilmember Soto.
Did you want to do the public comment right now, Mayor?
I was going to take the comments after.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mayor. It is a pleasure to present this proclamation for Human Trafficking Awareness Month. Whereas human trafficking is a form of modern slavery that occurs in every state, including California, wherein victims are forced to work in various forms of labor exploitation, including but not limited to commercial sex acts, and other services that are induced through force, fraud, or coercion. And whereas due to its isolated and discrete nature, many individuals across the globe are unaware that trafficking exists in their communities. It is estimated that more than 28 million people around the world are victims of human trafficking. And whereas human trafficking victims face a cruelty that has no place in a civilized world, it is a crime that can take many forms and one that tears us at our social fabric, debases our common humanity, and violates what we stand for as a country. And whereas increased education about how to identify human trafficking, along with increased knowledge of in-state resources and services for those affected by criminal exploitation, can help decrease the number of future victims. The Santa Barbara County Human Trafficking Task Force is committed to using all applicable laws and resources for investigating human trafficking and prosecuting those engaged in it. And whereas the Santa Barbara County Human Trafficking Task Force has worked diligently to bring awareness to the fact that human trafficking occurs closer to home than one may think, that California ranks #1 in the country for reported human trafficking cases, and that Santa Barbara County is a home to hundreds of survivors of trafficking and exploitation. Human Trafficking Awareness Month is an opportunity to recognize the critical role of all Santa Barbara County residents play in preventing, reporting, and adjudicating these heinous crimes. Now, therefore, Alice Patino, Mayor of the City of Santa Maria, hereby proclaims the month of January 2025 as Human Trafficking Awareness Month in the City of Santa Maria, and calls this observance to attention for all residents. And here to accept the proclamation is Ann McCarthy, Executive Director of the North County Rape Crisis and Child Protection Center.
I'm not singing, just so y'all know.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I can't carry a tune in a bucket, so. Good evening, Mayor Patino and members of the City Council. I am Ann McCarty, Executive Director of the North County Rape Crisis and Child Protection Center. But tonight, I stand before you as a proud member of a very strong coalition, the Santa Barbara County Human Trafficking Task Force. Our task force is a collaborative effort bringing together dedicated individuals and organizations, including representatives from the District Attorney's Office, all law enforcement agencies in the county, Homeland Security, community-based organizations, and so many more. Together, we work tirelessly to eradicate human trafficking in Santa Barbara County and hold those who exploit the vulnerable accountable for their actions. While we are proud of the progress that we've made over the past decade, we know our work is far from over. This proclamation, recognizing January as Human Trafficking Awareness Month in the City of Santa Maria, sends a powerful message. It tells traffickers that this city is watching. It demonstrates that you, as city leaders, are committed to ensuring there is no place in this community for the atrocities of trafficking. Your proclamation also signifies that you stand with us in our efforts to educate, intervene, and protect. So on behalf of the entire task force, I thank you for recognizing the work we do and for your unwavering support as we strive to safeguard individuals in your community. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. McCarty, for what you do. It's so important.
Yeah, I want to say I've known Ann for a very long time, and she's done this work for all those years. I really want to thank you for that.
I can remember back when we had Chief Martin here, and I became aware of, what was it, Backpage? Anyway, it was on the computer, and it was soliciting here in Santa Maria, and I was absolutely shocked. And when I did drive-arounds with one of our officers, and to see what was going on at the different hotels, motels in Santa Maria. And I told Chief Martin, I said, we need someone working specifically on this. And he did that, and I was very appreciative of that. I know our Rotary is having something at the Elks tomorrow from 2:30 to 4:30, so if anyone's interested, please attend. The more we become educated and aware of what's going on, the better our community is, each and every one of us. So if you can attend, I would sure appreciate that. I have two requests to speak. One, Mr. Solomon on 9A, and then Susan, is that Hubley, on 9B. Mr. Solomon?
Good evening, Mayor Paterno and City Council members. My name is Cliff Solomon, and I'm addressing you today to express my deep concern about the Right to Life Proclamation. This is not just a matter of words, but a fundamental issue that could significantly impact the lives of women in our community. I believe that the wording hides the true purpose of the Declaration to deny women their right to choose the healthcare options necessary as they deal with the realities of their lives. The Right to Life of the Central Coast website says they provide critical local resources, but is this enough to address women's comprehensive needs? Do they just provide women with a list of resources, or do they personally support the mother in ensuring adequate pre- and postnatal care? Do they help the family find affordable housing? Do they assist with employment or job training? Do they help the mother find affordable child care after the child is born? How long do they continue to assist the mother and her child? And what about the father? Do they make sure he understands his responsibility? Does he understand his requirement for child support? Bringing a child into the world is a lifetime commitment for the mother, the father, and the community. The proclamation assumes a universal agreement on what constitutes respect for life. However, this is a complex issue with diverse perspectives influenced by personal beliefs, cultural backgrounds, and ethical considerations. It's essential to ensure that such proclamations respect the diversity of all who live in the Santa Maria Valley and do not impose a particular viewpoint on all residents. Respecting these diverse perspectives is not just important, it's crucial for fostering a more inclusive and understanding community. The proclamation also ignores the fact that the state of California is a national leader in the protection of women's rights and the safeguarding of abortion rights for women. It is entirely inappropriate for the city to ignore overwhelming majority opinion in this state regarding abortion and women's rights. This is not a situation in which personal religious beliefs should be used to make a proclamation that contradicts most citizens' beliefs. We are entering a dark 4 years of political turmoil. I ask the Santa Maria City Council respect the freedom of all Central Coast citizens, including women's rights to health care. Thank you.
Thank you. Susan Hubley. And that is on 9B. Thank you.
Mayor Patino and City Council. My name is Susan Hubley, and I grew up here on the coast and was gone a number of years and just moved back. I was involved with a team in Texas regarding human trafficking, and when I moved here, I was shocked at the numbers in Santa Barbara County. What I'm not seeing is a lot of education. I had a list of phone numbers that I called, not one returned phone call. Nobody would talk to me. Law enforcement thought I was a crazy person asking about questions. So my concern is the children. I've seen a lot in Texas regarding trafficking. I was in the middle of trying to help women get out of prostitution. There was drug dealing, and the children were there. And I come home, and I can't get the migrant farm children out of my mind. And where is the education? So I need to find somebody to partner with and to help get more awareness regarding trafficking, because it's real. It's not a plaything. And people want to hide their head in the sand, and they don't want to even realize or acknowledge that it is a real thing, and it is. And I just want more awareness, especially in Santa Maria, California, because this is my hometown. So thank you.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is a presentation of a status update of encampment response efforts. Presentation to be made by Assistant City Manager, Mr. Wu, along with Senior Park Services Officer Ruben Ramirez and Sergeant Felix Diaz.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of the City Council. We've been providing these updates on a quarterly basis since 2024. At the last update, we provided information on the cleanup of the Santa Maria Riverbed. We had Joe Zavonik from Santa Barbara County that was here and relayed information of the significant, enormous effort that it took to clean the Santa Maria Riverbed in the attempts to connect those that are unhoused to resources. That cleanup took place in the summer and in the fall of 2024. Since that time, there have been some individuals that have moved back in. There have been individuals that have moved into the community. And we have Sergeant Felix Diaz here and Sergeant Ruben Ramirez that can provide updates on what's happening within the community. But also, I want to provide information that the efforts to connect people to resources is ongoing. We continue to work with the county and with the partner agencies to help people get the help that they need. And so there's a lot of background work. Also, we are working on a memorandum of understanding, an MOU with Santa Barbara County and San Luis Obispo County for the ongoing monitoring of the Santa Maria Riverbed. That is, we should have something soon before the decision makers within the next couple months. But at this time, I'll turn the time over to Ruben Ramirez and Felix Diaz.
Thank you. So it's just a brief summary update, kind of what we got going in the city. Like you did mention, a lot of the people that relocated out of the riverbed have come into the city. The majority are within the railroad tracks area. So we continue our enforcement in these areas. Again, he spoke about when we first contact these individuals, we were always offering resources. It's the number one thing. Offer resources, Hope Village, Good Sam, other locations. And then at that point, if they're still not receptive to services, that's when we take law enforcement action. Last week, we were in the railroad track area. We did arrest about 11 subjects for various charges, drug-related charges, trespassing charges, things of that nature. So we're continuing our enforcement. And on top of that, it's just the cleanups. We're doing cleanups on a weekly basis with the contract we have with the local businesses, and we continue that enforcement as well throughout the city. In terms of, I know we had Fairway, Industrial, and Hanson Way was a big issue with RVs. They've pretty much calmed down. They've realized they're not allowed to park there due to business concerns, safety concerns. So that's been resolved for the most part. And that's kind of the general gist of kind of what we got going at this point in the city. If you have any questions for me before I turn it over to Ruben, be happy to answer those.
Any questions from the dais?
I do, Madam Mayor.
Soda?
And is the presentation continuing, or was this it?
I think Sergeant
Yeah,
Ramirez
well-
was also going to provide
Oh,
information.
okay. Should I wait until after he speaks then? No?
It's up to you, ma'am.
It's up to you, whatever you want to do.
Okay, I just wasn't sure. My question is, just approximately, how much do we spend on resources when for tackling homelessness in the city of Santa Maria? Like, how many officers do we have working on cleaning up the encampments or responding to calls that happen to be about homelessness?
Felix, want to take that one?
I'm not going to have the specific numbers for that. In terms of like cleanups, I have 3 beat coordinators that are assigned throughout the city. They're primarily in charge of cleanups. So they're going out with them maybe once a week. So that's 1 or 2 officers once a week on top of the contract we have with 2M. I don't have exact money figure amounts for you, but that's kind of the resources we have. And again, it's a quality of life issue. So as other calls for service are coming up regarding transient issues, either patrol is handling or my beat coordinators are handling, depending on the time of day, things of that nature. So I'd have to go back to get you exact numbers for that.
That was helpful, thank you.
All right, no worries.
And Councilmember Soto, then that's just from the perspective of police. Understand that it's always a coordinated effort between police, park rangers, our code enforcement team is also involved to some extent. Our legal team is also involved to some extent. So it is a little bit hard to quantify because there are staff that commits time from different departments. And then there's time from the city manager's office as I participate in meetings with the county. And so then there's also the set-aside costs that we use for the cleanups. But we can quantify that and then provide that for you in the upcoming report or in a separate memo.
That would be great.
So when I looked at the warrants that we get every week for the cost, there were some costs in there for 2M who do the cleanup. So I really would like to know what the total is per quarter. Probably would be a good idea in terms of all the costs, the hard costs and the soft costs. So if we could get that, I don't know how long it would take you to get it, 30 days?
Yeah, I would say over the last couple years, it's been about $200,000.
Per quarter?
Yeah, no, not per quarter, in total.
I think it's more than that, because that didn't take
Yeah.
into account, like I said, the other departments. So if we could get the real number, that'd be,
Sure.
and so how soon could we get that?
I will get started on compiling that right away.
Okay, thank you.
I have another question.
Good, Ms. Sutter?
Thank you for your efforts. And I'm just so curious, like, how do you measure success? Like, what metrics are you using to say that our efforts are successful or proving effective?
Councilmember, so there are, note that there are point-in-time counts that are conducted on an annual basis, and there's some standard methodology for that. But also in the way we see it, this effort sometimes feels like a moving target. And so but some of it is visible. And when we consider what was visible in the Santa Maria Riverbed a year ago versus what's visible in the Santa Maria Riverbed today, there is a clear difference. We do not see the same debris and trash and encampments that were there a year ago, given the efforts that happened last summer. So in terms of the riverbed, there's a distinct change and improvement for the better. But we understand that as those individuals move out, they do move into other parts of the community.
Right.
That requires ongoing and persistent effort. And so sometimes we describe this as disruption. We know that they do go somewhere else, but as police and rangers continue in their enforcement efforts, they're provided notice to move if they don't accept the resources. And when they move, they leave some things behind, and we clean those up. And that disruption prevents these larger encampments from growing.
Yeah, thank you for your thoughtful responses.
Thank you. Ms. Flores?
So I want to thank you for what you do, but I had a question. So how are we going to be able to maintain that the homelessness does not come back again? What are our efforts? What is our thought process so it doesn't return to what it used to be? It was horrible before. It's better now, but I see that they're back. I was there yesterday and I was watching it. So my mindset is thinking, okay, well, what are we going to do so we don't get to where it was a year ago? And then the community's, scared and they're complaining and they're calling. So has your office come up with a plan to be able to say, hey, this is what we're doing once a month, once a week?
Thank you, Councilmember Flores. So I'll provide a response to that, and then I think we'll give time to the Rangers for their report, because I think they also have a perspective on that. There's work happening every week, and I think what we need to do better is begin to write these down and document and put it in a written document of what's been achieved and what we're continuing to do and what we plan to do. And when it comes to homelessness and encampment response, there's the enforcement aspect and then there's the services aspect. And so it's not just telling people, hey, you gotta move. It's also making sure that they have access to resources. And so we work with the county and the partner agencies to make sure that those services remain available if they need the help. And there are many services available, whether it's just a bed or food, or if it's health or mental health or employment, they call it wraparound services. And there is funding from the state that's geared towards and directed towards the resources side and services side. Money through the California Encampment Resolution Fund, directed towards those living in vehicles, those in a riverbed. And so there are monies on the resources side. But when we hear reports from Sergeant Diaz and Sergeant Ramirez, it's the enforcement side that allows us to maintain the community, the qualities that we aim to have. And so it's every day. Every day they're out there responding to complaints, cleaning up sites. But I think what we're going to do is lay this out in a written format, and so that it's clear of what the city is doing, and to better communicate these efforts to our community.
I really appreciate that, because it feels as if though we're being really reactionary when it comes to addressing homelessness rather than being strategic. Because we don't really have a plan in place. We're really relying on what SLO County or what Santa Barbara County is doing. And so hearing you say that you want to start jotting down or tracking data internally here at the city will give us a good idea, at least of what benchmarks to measure when it comes to identifying whether or not we're being successful in our efforts, or if we need to try something different. I so appreciate the efforts that are currently taking place, and I also think it's important for us to acknowledge that those efforts are still not enough, and that additional resources need to be added, and those resources. And that investment really needs to come from the city, again, rather than waiting to see what other jurisdictions are going to do to address homelessness in our city. So thank you for the efforts, and we need more resources.
And part of the challenge is the state does not give the money to the city. It gives the money to the county. And so we are part of that plan, but we aren't the drivers of the plan. And so that's that, we're not in the driver's seat on that. So that's where part of the challenge comes in.
But he just shared
Yeah,
grant opportunities that may be coming up. And so if we have a plan in place and we're strategic, there may be opportunities for us to be able to go after those grant opportunities, because there are a number of grants that are available to local governments, including cities, when it comes to addressing crime and homelessness and food insecurities, for instance. So it's just a matter of getting and finding those resources.
Yeah, and to Madam Mayor's comment, that's correct. A lot of the state monies are administered through the county. For example, the SURF 2 and the SURF 3 funds, there were several $1 million that were administered, and they were largely provided to Good Samaritan and New Beginnings. And so Good Sam and New Beginnings, they have outreach workers that go out to engage with the unhoused and do everything they can to get them the resources that they need. But yes, there are monies that's administered through the county, also through these nonprofit agencies. It looks like Ruben's ready to provide an update.
Just to touch on what Felix was talking about with the riverbeds. So the Santa Maria City Rangers do patrol 5 days a week, 2 hours a day. When we do go out there, because of the jurisdictional boundaries, that presents a problem for us because of SLO County and Santa Barbara. So as a frontline defense, what we do is we identify a camp and we contact the jurisdiction that's responsible for that area. So underneath the riverbed, we do have some camps that have popped up that are under the jurisdiction of the CHP. And then we also have some in the Santa Barbara County area. It has been successful out there with regarding the cleanup. However, when we go further east, we're finding more camps, approximately 20 in the unincorporated areas or the Santa Barbara County, SLO County areas. So right now we're trying to coordinate with the county, and the biggest problem is because of the rains from last year is every access point that we once had is basically been washed out, so we can't get trucks or tractor equipment out there. But we do continue to go out there, like I said, 5 days a week, and it's not a whole lot, but it's as much as we could do right now. Prior to contacting, we do offer the resources, like Felix mentioned, and then we take action or we take enforcement after. The majority of the folks that are out in the riverbed or the unhoused are the ones that are the more hardcore, where they're not going to accept the resources that we provide, and they're pretty much accustomed to the lifestyle that's in the riverbed. Regarding the city, we are encountering a little bit more homeless in the parks. Just this past week, we were on what we refer to the Miller Corridor. It's between Betaravia and San Ysidro. So we've been responding to Neighborhood Connect complaints or complaints to the Recreation Parks Department or proactive patrols addressing some of the unhoused that are starting to establish camps along the bushes. Some of them are abandoned, some of them are occupied, but again, we do offer the resources. It's just this specific group is the ones that aren't taking it. Our ranger patrols, to make comment about the manpower. So a daily patrol for us should be patrolling parks, facilities, our city hall complex. But because of the issues with homelessness, it probably pulls us about 3 to 4 hours out of a patrol day, including what we do on the night patrols as well. We do keep track with the Parks Division. We keep track of man hours as far as how many staff we have doing cleanups. We don't utilize 2M as much as the police department does. Because of the camps that we're contacting, they're very small, so we're utilizing parks crews. So we do have good tracking on what we're dropping off at the landfill and how much equipment we're using, and even the cost of fuel in our rangers as well. And then if you guys have any other questions, I'm more than happy to answer those as well.
Thank you.
Is it possible to get a written agreement with the CHP and the other, with the county and with SLO County, Santa Barbara County, that they will allow us to patrol and do what we need to do?
That's what we're
And then
trying
we
to do.
can send them the bill?
So I believe that's what Mr. Wu's working on right now. So we do have, because part of the riverbed is owned by the city of Santa Maria, so we do have the jurisdiction to go out and patrol. one of the biggest problems we have is how are we going to enforce out there when it's San Luis Obispo County, and I don't believe we have an MOU, or even the police department does with the county for that matter.
Well, last time they were here, they did commit to doing that. So what's
Yeah,
taking
and
so long?
I have spoken to Supervisor Paulding, so I mean, that's part of what Mr. Wu is working on now, is trying to get that written agreement. Yeah, and don't forget Caltrans.
Yes.
And so they're all in there, yeah.
Well, I'm really looking forward to seeing the numbers that are being put together, because it sounds like there is a lot of resources being put into this effort. And it would be great for us to be able to showcase and highlight the efforts that the city is taking to address homelessness, but also to identify where there may be gaps in areas for us to funnel in additional resources when we have the opportunity to do so. And then the last point that I would like to make is that when it comes to addressing homelessness, one of the biggest things that we can do is prevent it in the first place. And so just a reminder that housing costs continue to go up, and we need to do our part to ensuring that residents are able to afford to live here. And so just putting that as a plug, that it would be great for us to, when we're looking at homelessness, when we're doing our goal setting for the city, if we're serious about addressing homelessness, we need to include protections for tenants when it comes to rent increases.
Thank you very much for your presentation. That was great. And I know the people in Santa Maria like to hear what's going on. Thank you, Mr. Wu. So the next presentation is an update on the fire department readiness. And so the presentation is to be made by Fire Chief Bradley Dandridge.
Thank you, Mayor, members of council. In light of recent fires in several communities in Los Angeles County, I've been asked to discuss the Santa Maria Fire Department's readiness and preparedness to respond to such catastrophic events within our city. I must first acknowledge the unprecedented devastation, the loss of life and property that has occurred in Los Angeles County. Our hearts and prayers go out to all the families that were affected. I would also like to commend the first responders who answered the call in their efforts to try to make a positive difference during this tragic event. The Santa Maria Fire Department supported the incident by sending 3 units with a total of 12 personnel to assist the needs of the emergency. We recalled off-duty firefighters, and they responded. They answered the call and staffed reserve apparatus to ensure continued service to our city during those absences. It's important to point out that the city of Santa Maria is uniquely different from the cities involved in Los Angeles fires and to other cities within our county here in Santa Barbara. Santa Maria has a very limited wildland-urban interface, which is defined as the area where human development meets undeveloped wildland. This is the zone that is most prone to wildfires. The city of Santa Maria's urban development is primarily surrounded by farmland, which does not readily burn. However, this does not mean we are exempt or immune to such occurrences. Santa Maria has identified high-intensity business districts, mixed-use areas, high-density residential, industrial, storage facilities, and large mercantile centers within its limits, all not invulnerable to fire. So how do we prepare for these potential emergencies? How can we control what we do here in the city? Staffing, apparatus placement, training, prevention, and auto aid agreements. Our first consideration is staffing. The department must have proper staffing to respond to emergencies. A long-range master plan was conducted and published in January 2024. It completed a community risk assessment and standards of cover update that showed that Santa Maria Fire Department had 0.64 firefighters per 1,000 population. The report also recommended an immediate increase in staffing levels by 1 additional firefighter per shift, for a total of 3 additional firefighters. Mayor, you and previous council approved an additional of 9 firefighters to our budget, which increased our approved staffing by 3 per shift. The department hired 9 firefighters in April of 2024. After completion of the Recruit Academy, 8 successfully completed and passed and are now in the field serving our community. I want to thank you for your support in the increased staffing levels for our department. The goal, however, of every fire department, including Santa Maria Fire Department, is to reach the National Fire Protection Association recommendation of a minimum of 4 firefighters per engine company. Increased staffing offers significant benefits, including increased efficiency in fire operations, faster response times, enhanced rescue capabilities, and improved safety for our firefighters. I understand the current budgetary constraints, but look forward to the continued discussions regarding the forecasted growth and continued need to provide emergency services to our growing community. Our second consideration that we can control is apparatus and its placement. It is essential that the department's apparatus are strategically placed to ensure quick response and arrivals to emergencies. With the addition of the 9 firefighters, Council also approved the opening of an additional engine for the city response. Operations is currently working on logistical needs to make this happen. When completed, this addition allows for apparatus to be strategically placed throughout the city to ensure a 4-minute travel time to any location within city limits. 4-minute response in the fire service is considered crucial because it significantly impacts the potential for containing a fire in its early stages, minimizing damage and maximizing the chance of rescuing occupants as this fire spreads quickly within its first few minutes after ignition. Quick intervention is critical for positive outcomes. Quick response times also benefit the emergency medical aid calls to which we respond. Crews can quickly arrive, assess a patient's condition, and initiate basic life-saving intervention. The goal is to prevent the patient's condition from deteriorating and buy more time for advanced medical care. Our third consideration is training. Training fosters teamwork and cooperation. 2024 saw the approval of 40-hour training captain, which I have tasked with development, coordination, and delivery of standardized training to ensure the firefighters responding to these emergencies are competent and efficient at their skills. Training is the backbone of every fire department. It produces a well-prepared force that through repetition increases the speed of an operation and enhances proper execution. Our department currently utilizes opportunities within our community to train at businesses and vacant structures. We also travel to the public safety training facility located at the Lompoc campus of Allen Hancock College when needed to maintain our certifications. We will continue to work towards a basic training site within city limits to conduct training in the future. Our fourth consideration is prevention. The 2024 master plan that I referenced earlier identified short and midterm goals for our department. One of the short-term goals was to develop an inspection schedule for commercial occupancies. An identified midterm goal was to hire additional fire inspectors. Last year, Madam Mayor and Council, I was approved and filled our prevention department with 4 fire inspectors. The fire inspectors assist our fire marshal in conducting business inspections throughout the city. The inspections identify potential fire hazards, educate occupants, and maintain compliance with safety standards. This ensures safer commercial occupancies in our community for our public and firefighters when responding to emergencies. Lastly, if there were a fire to occur within city limits, Santa Maria Fire Department has auto aid agreements with San Luis Obispo and Santa Barbara County Fire Departments. These agreements ensure additional resources will be sent to assist with any fire mitigation efforts. So in summary, the fire department, how can we prepare for emergencies within our city and make ourselves ready to respond? Having adequate staffing, strategically placing apparatus for effective response models, provide standardized training, engaging in fire prevention efforts, and securing auto aid agreements with neighboring agencies. Madam Mayor, Council, I just want to point out when I arrived as a fire chief 2 years ago, our approved staffing for the department was 66. Today, it has increased to 76. Our budget was $23.4 million. Today, our budget for the fire department is 26.3. I want to thank you for your continued support of the fire department. That concludes my presentation and open for any
Thank you.
questions.
Any questions?
I do, Madam
Ms.
Mayor.
Soto?
How many vacancies do we currently have out of the additional positions that were approved?
Of the 76 positions that are approved, we have 5 firefighter vacancies right now.
Okay. And how many firefighters went out to the LA fire?
We had 12 Councilmember Soto, that responded. We had 2 of the crews return 2 days ago. So we have a total, I believe, of 4 people out there, 3 RTF, which is Regional Task Force. They're specialized, they're conducting searches of the area. And I believe we have 1 peer support dog and its member out there helping in the mental aspects of it.
Wow. So what do we do in times of aid when we have to send out firefighters to other parts of the state to respond to fire emergencies like we saw here in LA Fire? Because that was what, like a fifth of your fire department that was out in LA? How do we ensure that coverage remains steady and steady here in the city of Santa Maria?
Councilmember Soto, thank you. That's an excellent question. As I alluded before, what we do is we have a callback system. What we do is when we send out units and personnel, my first priority is the city of Santa Maria. I've communicated to our battalion chiefs that if there are no people available to backfill, we cannot, in good faith, send out our troops. However, our firefighters responded to the call. There's plenty of people that are willing to come back and fill, and we're able to support the incident to our fullest capacity. This particular one, we sent 3, and 12 people responded with the calls to backfill reserve apparatus, as I said before, so there was no reduction to the service within our city.
And that includes no reduction in the number of units, right? Because those
Correct.
are filled from other jurisdictions, or?
I don't understand the question. When we send out, for example, this particular one, we sent out 2 engines and so we have reserve apparatus. What we do is we utilize the reserve apparatus that we have and we fill them with the personnel and they'll respond out of the stations which were vacated.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Any other questions from the dais? Oh, Ms. Flores?
So I just wanted to say thank you to the Santa Maria firefighters for going to Los Angeles and taking time away from your families and going there and representing our city. And then second, I had a question. Are all our firehouses completely staffed?
Yes, ma'am. We have 6 fire stations right now. Our Station 1, which is our downtown station, is staffed with an engine and a truck. The other stations, excluding Station 6, and I'll elaborate a little bit on that, are staffed with an engine. Station 6 right now is currently staffed with just 1 person that provides ARF, that's Airport Rescue Firefighting Service, to the airport. The additional engine that I mentioned right now that the previous council approved, we're looking at opening it at that station. We're making that work. We need to make that work first with personnel and logistical needs of the station. But once we do have that, there'll be an engine running out of the south end of Santa Maria also.
Okay. And all our fire hydrants have water, right?
To my knowledge, yes, but if you're asking me a question in regards to water, I would defer to our utilities director, Chad Springer.
I just had to throw that in.
I understand.
Thank you.
That's the question
Thank
I
you.
got.
Thank you.
That they wanted to know if our hydrants had water in it, because several calls. Any other questions?
Mr. Springer, would you like to address that? Would you like that be addressed, Madam Mayor?
Yeah, go ahead. We want it on the record.
Madam Mayor and council members, in the city of Santa Maria, there are roughly 3,300 fire hydrants, so over 3,000 fire hydrants dispersed throughout the city. We have different standards when new development occurs, whether it's residential or commercial. So the distance between fire hydrants on city streets can be 300 feet to 450 feet, depending on whether it's commercial or residential. And some important things to point out that are different about Santa Maria's water system than maybe what was seen in the Palisades fire down south, which was a terrible tragedy, is that the difference in elevation in that area was significant. And in a water system, importantly, to get water uphill requires booster pumps. Those require electricity or some other source of power. So unfortunately, in the Palisades situation, they were also under a public safety power shutoff. Due to the very high winds pushing 100 miles an hour, the power company in that area shut off power. That shut off power to those booster pumps, which would then push water to the higher elevations. Even if those booster pumps had diesel generators as backup, the diesel fuel only lasts so long. or they were consumed in the fire as well. Not to say that we're immune. The chief spoke very eloquently about the difference for us here and the interaction with wildland fires. But the city of Santa Maria's water system is all one pressure zone. So we are not reliant on booster pumps. The pressure in our system is provided the same throughout the city without the reliance on those booster pumps. So we have groundwater wells and state water. They add water to the system at the same pressure, and then the reservoirs on the hill. Our design capacity for an urban interface or for an urban water system like this, it's unfortunate, as I mentioned, in the Pacific Palisades situation, there is no water system in the United States designed to provide water for a situation like that. It was overwhelming. The water system here in Santa Maria is designed to the fire code. We do have adequate water and supply. We keep water in reserve at the reservoirs to meet those fire flow needs. Generally, in an urban area like this, it would be 3,000 gallons a minute for 4 hours straight. That is how much water we keep in the reservoir just for that purpose. That comes to less than 1 million gallons. Our typical storage in the reservoir probably right now is about 10 million gallons, significantly more than that. Another situation that was occurring, unfortunately, in the Palisades area is that as people were trying to protect their property, they were also using a lot of water. You would see pictures of the sprinklers on the roofs. So that is taking away from the water supply available to the fire hydrants for the firefighters as well. So it caused significant demand on their water system. Ours is a little more resilient, basically by the nature of the terrain. I hope that answers your question.
That was very
Thank you.
thorough. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you, Chief Dandridge. And please give our thank yous to the firefighters. And we appreciate that they
They're
went
here
down
tonight,
there.
so thank you so much.
I will do. Thank you.
Okay, moving on to the next item of business. On the agenda is the public comment period. Madam Clerk, could you please read the criteria for public comment?
Yes, Madam Mayor. Speakers may provide public comment on any matter within the subject matter jurisdiction of the City Council. Each speaker will be limited to 3 minutes, maximum 15 minutes for public comment period. Unless a majority of the council objects, the mayor may provide speakers more or less time to speak. All comments or queries shall be addressed to the council as a body and not to any specific member thereof, pursuant to Government Code 54954-2A2, the Ralph M. Brown Act. No action or discussion by the City Council shall be undertaken on any item not appearing on the posted agenda, except to briefly provide information, ask for clarification, provide direction to staff, or schedule a matter for a future meeting.
Thank you. Chris Huckabee, followed by Matt Cherkoff, followed by Gary Hall.
Good evening, Mayor Patino and City Council members. My name is Chris Huckabee, and I'm here on Concerned Citizen. I own a small engine repair shop here in Santa Maria. It's called Santa Maria Valley Small Engine, and I'm here in regards to discuss AB 1346. AB 1346 is a mandate. It has significant impact on the small businesses, such as AB 1346 is the transition from gas-powered engine equipment like lawnmowers, weed eaters, chainsaws, batteries, and to zero-emission battery-powered alternatives. While environmental goals of this law are commendable, the practical implications and small businesses in our community are concerning. Many local businesses, especially those in landscaping, construction, ag, and equipment repair, rely heavily on gas-powered tools due to their affordability, power, and reliability. The shift to electric equipment comes with several challenges. First is cost. Electrical equipment is expensive, and replacing an entire fleet of tools is a financial burden many small businesses simply can't afford. Second is performance limitations. Currently, battery alternatives often lack durability, runtime needed for demanding all-day jobs. A fully charged backpack blower with 3 batteries lasts an average of 36 minutes. Third is economic impact. If businesses can't afford this transition, they risk having to close their businesses, which leads to job loss and reduced services available in our community. In addition, The environmental impact of these transitions is often overlooked. While gas-powered equipment is being phased out for environmental reasons, the alternative of lithium battery poses its own challenges. Currently, only 5% of all lithium batteries are recycled, and of that, 1% is from small battery usage. The other 4% is primarily electrical vehicle batteries. This is because there's no adequate facilities to process cobalt and lithium and other components in these batteries. As a result, many end up in landfills, contributing to long-term environmental damage. Transitioning to battery-powered equipment without addressing the issues risks trading one environmental problem for another. While there may be little we can do locally to change this legislation, it is essential to bring greater awareness to this issue and potential consequences. I have spoke with and reached out to local Assembly member Greg Hart, but even he was unable to provide any solution or even care about it. He simply said, "I'm for zero emissions." With that being said, the California is awaiting a federal government approval from the EPA. Once it is granted, the impact will be devastating for many small businesses in our community. Some businesses may not survive the transition, leading to businesses closing down. I want to thank you for your time, for your considering this important issue. By understanding the gravity of this situation, we can better prepare ourselves for the community to support the small businesses that are vital to our local economy and way of life, while advocating for small, sustainable energy. If you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to ask them.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Huckabee.
Thank you.
Matt Cherkoff, followed by Gary Hall, followed by Corey Pascola.
Good evening, City Council, City staff, and the community. My name is Matt Cherkoff, and I'm president of the Firefighters Association. I'm going to shoot from the hip here. I know these four guys back there, they're pretty humble, and they wouldn't speak up, but they're the four that responded at about 3 p.m. on the day the Palisades fire erupted. And they represented us very well. Thank you, guys. You did great work.
Thank you.
First and foremost, I want to say that our thoughts and prayers are with all those that are affected by the fires in Los Angeles, including the firefighters and emergency workers who are down there assisting the response and recovery efforts, including the 12 of our members who provided assistance and the 3 more that continue to provide assistance. Also, I want to thank all of the community members who have reached out to support your firefighters and stopped by the fire stations asking how they can help us and the firefighters on the front lines. I would like to direct you to the California Fire Foundation, who provides assistance to firefighters who lost their homes in the fires, and to community members who have been displaced and need financial assistance. You can find more information on their website at www.cafirefoundation.org. This foundation also provides financial assistance in the form of prepaid credit cards to those within our community who are affected by fires. This effort is in coordination between labor and management. I thank you for allowing the fire chief to provide information as to the state of the readiness of the Santa Maria Fire Department. I encourage all members of the community to also reevaluate their own readiness to respond to and/or evacuate in the event of a disaster locally. I also want to turn your attention, in October of last year, the International Association of Firefighters Fire and EMS Operations Department conducted a GIS analysis of the Santa Maria Fire Department. This report compares actual city data to the only published national standards for the fire department response capabilities, the National Fire Protection Association standards. And I just want to inform everyone that if you're interested in learning more about that, you can make your way over to our website, www.santamariafirefighters.com, select menu, then select Fire Department Reports. It's an interactive web-based report for all of the community. There's also some other fire department reports linked on there, so you can keep up with the fire department over the years and the number of different assessments that have been conducted. We present this information to the community as advocates. We also ask that you partner with us in making the fact-based decisions for the future of the Santa Maria Fire Department. Should you be interested in a presentation of the report prepared by the International Association of Firefighters, please do not hesitate to contact me. We would be happy to schedule that for you. And once again, thank you for paying special attention to the incident that happened down in Los Angeles. Our brothers and sisters on the front lines did some amazing work, And thank you for acknowledging the guys in the back. Appreciate that.
Thank you, Mr. Chirkov.
Thank you. One more thing, Mayor. Corey
Yes.
Pascola had to leave, so he won't be able to speak.
Okay, thank you. Gary Hall.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, council members, staff, and citizens of Santa Maria. My name is Gary Hall. I'm a resident of Rancho Buena Vista Mobile Estates at 2135 North Railroad Avenue here in Santa Maria. I represent the North Santa Barbara County Manufactured Homeowners Team, or NSBIT. Our NSBIT goal remains to provide protection to all Santa Maria mobile home residents presently living in an unregulated rental market where the current model lease program has been ineffective in protecting homeowner equity and maintaining affordable mobile home housing, which, by the way, can help prevent homelessness. The 2020 model lease has not adequately addressed the need for mobile home rent stabilization in Santa Maria. The June 6, 2022 motion that was passed by this council with the intent of improving the model lease or replacing it. For the last 2.5 years, we have been seeking to improve it. The planned outreach effort is now complete with little, if any, effect or benefit. I know of no other planned activities. So now what? In my opinion, after this 5-year unsuccessful test run of the model lease, it's now time to look at replacing it. A review of the Santa Barbara Code of Ordinances, Chapter 11A, titled Mobile Home Rent Control, might be a good place to start. Last December 10th, the Santa Barbara County Board of Supervisors provided another example of positive action when they unanimously passed an extension to October of this year of the Senior Mobile Home Park Conversion Interim Urgency Ordinance. You will recall this ordinance temporarily stops the inappropriate attempt to convert Del Cielo Senior Mobile Home Park or any other senior park in the unincorporated Santa Barbara County to all-age parks. It is time for the city of Santa Maria to take up similar action and to protect us senior mobile home park residents from the same inappropriate act by greedy Santa Maria mobile home park owners. Since August, I have been asking for this to be added to the agenda. My final concern deals with the lack of transparency regarding contract negotiations and the continuing impasse between the city and our firefighters. I have attempted to research the so-called PERB violation referred to by City Attorney Watson at the December 17th meeting. I contacted PERB, and they confirmed the existence of a case and provided me with several case documents that describe activities over the last 3 or 4 months. Only. PERB reports a fact-finding request was approved and then placed in abeyance or put in a holding pattern until the 31st of January. Let us hope something positive, like a compromise, will occur on January 31st. The continuing lack of compromise is putting public safety at risk. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hall. So this is Caratina Martinez. And Melissa will be the interpreter.
Buenas tardes, alcaldesa Patiño y miembros del concilio. Mi nombre es Caritina Martínez. Yo tengo un estudiante en la Escuela Jiménez. Soy mamá de uno de los niños.
Okay, so good evening, Mayor Patino and council members. My name is Caritina Hernandez, and I am the mother of a child. And ¿dónde tienes su?
En la Escuela Jiménez.
At Jimenez School.
Yo vengo a pedirles su ayuda para que nos puedan dejar estacionarnos en la calle atrás de la escuela que es la Western.
She's here to seek help on allowing them to park in the street behind the school, which is Western.
La escuela ya es elementary y también es high school. Entonces, hay mucho tráfico por la calle principal de enfrente, que es la Biscayne, creo.
She's requesting to be able to park on Western because the main street, which is Biscayne, has a lot of traffic.
La escuela decidió que los niños de sexto, séptimo y octavo grado salieran por la calle de atrás, que es la Western. Entonces, siempre nos hemos parqueado ahí, nos hemos estacionado, pero últimamente, pues los oficiales de policía hacen su trabajo y nos dicen que no podemos estar ahí para recoger los niños. Entonces, yo sugeriría que nos dieran, no sé, un permiso tal vez de 12 a 3:30 en el transcurso que salen los niños, que no nos den ninguna infracción.
So she's respectfully requesting that, I guess, kids from 6th, 7th, and 8th graders are exiting through La Calle Western?
Sí.
Through Western Avenue, and she's requesting, and I guess the police department is giving citations for parking there. She's respectfully requesting if between the hours of 2 and 3:30, de 2 a 3:30?
De 12, yo pienso, de 12 a 3:30 más o menos, porque hay veces que hay días mínimos, los niños salen temprano y hay veces que también los niños salen a las 2:40 normalmente.
Okay. Kids typically leave at 2:40 except for minimum days, and she's requesting between 2 and 3:30 to be allowed to park there.
12 and
12 on minimum days, yes, that's what I was gonna mention. Yeah, but between regular days, 2 to 3:30, and then minimum days between 12 and 3 to allow to pick up of the children. And she knows that the police department is doing their job, but she would respectfully request to be allowed for the parents to be parked there and not received any citations.
Yo pienso que no bloqueamos ninguna entrada de alguna persona que tenga alguna residencia particular. Entonces, sí me gustaría que si podían ayudarnos a que puedan ver la situación que se está pasando y ojalá nos dieran ese permiso porque sí hace falta. Y es muy buena escuela y necesitamos nosotros esa área para poder recoger los niños.
She feels that they are not impeding anyone of the residents that live there of being able to travel or park, and travel, my apologies. And she's respectfully requesting and invites you to visit to see the situation, and she hopes that something is addressed.
Sí, muy amables y muchas gracias por escucharme.
She would like to thank everybody, and thank you for listening.
Gracias, señora Martinez. This has been, I've had complaints from Miller Street School. I can't remember the name of the school. Now we have Jimenez. And it's just been the problem. And I know I've talked to Commander Cohen on this. So, maybe we need to meet with the schools and figure out how we can best, because every school is going to be different. And every time we get a new school built, I have asked them, do you have a plan for dropping off the kids and picking them up? And I am assured that they do, and they don't. So, I think that the different schools that I mentioned and was mentioned here tonight, perhaps we contact the school district and figure out how we can best address this. And I know down from Miller Street School, there's a church down there, and perhaps they would allow us to use their parking lot for some of the older kids. I don't know what the answer is, but to the different schools, but I think we need to engage them so that we work together on getting this problem solved.
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
Mr.
Escobedo?
I would add the Oakley Elementary School. That says in a continuous issue.
Oakley? Okay.
Yeah, Oakley.
Yeah.
Huge.
I think this is an issue in most schools because I've gotten calls from constituents in my district having the same problem. They got a ticket while they were picking up or dropping off their child. And I think we may just want to look at the schedules and work with the police department. I'm not so sure if this is even a school district problem. In terms of, the logistics, we would need to work with them.
Collaboration.
but it's really the City of Santa Maria Police Department who's giving these tickets.
Yeah, but, yes, Mr. Watson?
We actually do have a response, I understand, from Public Works that it is going in front of the Traffic Committee tomorrow to create a loading zone.
You guys
in
are
that area.
fast.
So
Okay, yeah.
we've heard our constituents as well.
Yeah. So there's been several schools. It's not just the one
For
school.
loading and unloading
Okay.
children?
Yes, exactly.
Not just cargo?
Not
Okay.
just cargo.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. Gracias, señora. Yeah. The next one is Julie.
Thank you, members. I have just a quick question on what the officers had said about the homeless and some questions on that. As far as I am a member of the community, I have been active with working with a lot of the homeless individuals just as a ministry and a family outreach for over a decade now. And I was wondering, when one of the members, Ms. Soto, said that you are not aware, or you're just, I don't know, I can't remember the word you used, phrase-wise, is that you're unattached, or you don't understand what's going on, so you need them. So in a general question to just the council members, because I do see a lot of just, not just you city leaders, but just city employees walking in the neighborhoods and of what I deem as safe neighborhoods. And a lot of the unsafe or the problematic of the homeless issues are literally across one street. And how many of, I just would like to know how many of you engage personally to understand the situation as far as reaching out without something, other motives other than just wanting to truly understand and try to resolve these situations. There is a lot of mental health, a lot of drug use, and me personally knowing a lot of the things that have changed in the Good Sam is that they're no longer held accountable, the residents that stay there, for the drug use. And because of this, I'm unable to have certain people while my family is there serving the community. Because of that, it's a security issue for our family, let alone those who actually live in and rent homes who aren't homeless. So I just would like to know how much resources do we keep throwing out a bad thing? And then as far as like using this as a numbers for the county to be able to understand, like, I forgot who said it, but said that the county uses our local homeless as a number to get money, yet they don't return that money for our numbers up here, is what I kind of understand, but I may be wrong. Anyways, I was wondering, are these for housing units? I see a lot, and I hear a lot from my neighbors of where they want to build multi-purpose or projects and safe neighborhoods to help people see different things. Well, why aren't we going and addressing the communities that are in the need and looking at their properties to build these housing units? And again, I just would like to kind of beat a dead horse. I don't see any public parks for families of tax-paying. We're taxpayers, we own properties, and we're splitting the bill for all these great projects, but there's no public park that my children can go to during the day, and that's not attached to a public school and not freely accessible to my children unless they're part of a community league or some sort like that, that's not attached to a project, that a multi-purpose unit, apartment complex or something of that nature. So maybe if we can also address some of those things that get families out from what they're, I call projects, all apartments as projects, because they're stuck in their own little, you build the playground there, but they don't venture out either. So that might also help unify the city from the safe zones and the non-safe zones, maybe. I don't know. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, that is the end of the public comment. So now, our Deputy City Clerk, Donna Schwartz, will you be giving the staff report then on the annual January appointments?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
So, Madam Mayor, members of the City Council, the requests before you tonight are to make various appointments to vacant positions on the Measure U Citizens Oversight Committee, Planning Commission, Recreation and Parks Commission, and the Santa Barbara County Library Committee. I will present the committees one at a time for consideration of the appointments and the City Council's ratification. So first, we have Measure U Citizens Oversight Committee. There's currently 3 vacancies at this time. Staff received applications from 2 of the incumbents, Trent Benedetti and Jack Owen Jr., and 1 new application received after the filing deadline from Jennifer Camacho. The appointees will serve a term of 4 years, each ending in January 2029. Mayor Patino and Council Members Flores and Escobedo each have a nomination to this committee. Following the nominations, appointments will then be confirmed by the mayor with ratification by the City Council.
Okay, did you say that Mr. Escobedo did have an application of Jennifer Camacho?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So I will nominate Trent Benedetti.
Second.
Okay. Do you want to do each of these separately, or can we do them all together?
You can do them all together.
Okay. Okay. Did you want it?
I'll nominate Jennifer Camacho.
Okay.
And then I'm going to nominate Jack Owen.
Okay.
Any second?
So now we need a motion, which would be Escobedo, your motion?
Oh,
A second.
I'll second.
Okay.
So who's motioning?
It's the mayor.
Okay.
I'm sorry, who was second?
Alice made the motion.
I made the
Carlos
motion
made the
and he
second.
did the second.
Okay.
Then on Jack Owen, Councilmember Flores made the motion. I will do a second.
Are we ready for a roll call?
Yes. Yes.
Mayor Patino?
Aye.
Councilmember Escobedo?
Aye.
Councilmember Aguilar Hernandez?
Aye.
Councilmember Flores?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Soto?
Aye.
Next is Planning Commission. The Planning Commission has a total of 3 vacancies at this time. Staff received applications for 3 of the incumbents. From 3 of the incumbents, Robert Dickerson, Tom Lopez, Tim Seifert. Sorry. And 2 new applications received from Larry Crawford and Jeffrey Wheeler. The appointees will serve a term of 4 years, each ending in January 2029. Mayor Patino and Council Members Flores and Escobedo each have a nomination to this committee. Following the nominations, appointments will then be confirmed by the mayor with ratification by the City Council.
Okay. Councilmember Escobedo, do you have a nomination?
Yes, Mayor. I would like to reappoint Mr. Seifer.
Okay, and I will second that motion. And Councilmember Flores, do you have a nomination?
Yes, I'd like to nominate Tom Lopez.
I'll second.
Okay, and my nomination is Robert Dickerson.
I'll second.
So I will accept these nominations. And Madam Clerk, can you call the roll?
Yes. Council Members Escobedo?
Aye.
Mayor Patino?
Aye.
Councilmember Aguilar Hernandez?
Aye.
Councilmember Flores?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Soto?
Aye.
Next commission is Recreation and Parks Commission. There's a total of 3 vacancies at this time. Staff received applications from 2 of the incumbents, Rebecca Carey and Cynthia Godino, and 2 new applications received from Jose Ramirez and Vladimir Cruz. The appointees will serve a term of 4 years, each ending in January 2029. Mayor Patino, Council Members Flores and Escobedo each have a nomination to this committee. Following the nominations, appointments will then be confirmed by the mayor with ratification by the City Council.
Okay, Councilmember Escobedo, do you have a nomination?
I would like to nominate Cynthia Godino.
Okay, and Councilmember Flores, do you have a nomination?
I'd like to nominate Jose Ramirez.
Okay, and my nomination is Rebecca Carey. And I accept these nominations and make the motion to appoint these to the Recreation and Parks Commission.
I'll second.
I have a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, can you please call the roll?
Mayor Patino?
Aye.
Councilmember Escobedo?
Aye.
Councilmember Aguilar Hernandez?
Aye.
Councilmember Flores?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Soto?
Aye.
The last committee is the Santa Barbara County Library Committee. has a total of 1 vacancy at this time. Staff received 2 new applications from Michelle Graham and Suzanne Hodgnick. The appointee will serve an unexpired term ending July 2025. Mayor Petilla has nomination to this committee. Following the nomination, an appointment will then be confirmed by the mayor with ratification by the city council.
I would like to make a motion to nominate Suzanne Hodgnick to the Santa Barbara County Library Committee for the term ending in 2025.
And I'll second.
There's a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, can you please call the roll?
Mayor Patino?
Aye.
Councilmember Flores?
Aye.
Councilmember Aguilera Hernandez?
Aye.
Councilmember Escobedo?
Aye.
And Mayor Pro Tem Soto?
Aye.
Okay, so the next item will also be presented by Chief Deputy City Clerk Donna Schwartz for outside boards and commissions.
Appointments to outside boards, commissions, and committees requiring city council representation for starting January 2025. Madam Mayor, I'm going to go ahead and let you proceed with your appointments to the 10 agencies that are currently requiring city council representation.
Thank you.
Congratulations to the appointees.
I will stay on APCD, and Ms. Aguilera Hernandez, would you like to continue as the alternate?
Yes.
Okay, and I will stay on 3CE. And Ms. Flores, would you like to consider being the alternate on that?
Yes.
Okay. And then on the that's on the policy, and on the technical, we have our city manager usually does that. And Mr. Rowland, and then CCWA, which is the...
For operations, Madam Mayor, you appointed city manager, but alternate assistant city manager?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. And then on the CCWA, I know Mr. Escobedo, you had requested being on that, which is the water.
Yep.
And then on the alternate is utilities director for that, Mr. Springer. And then Ms. Soto, do you wish to continue on the 3CH?
Oh, sure.
Okay, and then Mr. Escobedo, would you like to be alternate on that?
Yep.
Okay, and then on the IAOC, Ms. Aguilera Hernandez, would you like to continue on that?
We have a vacancy on the CAC, Madam Mayor?
Yeah, I haven't gotten there yet.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, and so I will continue on LAFCO. I will continue on the SBCAG, and Ms. Aguilera Hernandez, would you like to continue as the alternate on that?
Yes.
Okay. And the CAC, is that appointed, that is appointed by us? Because in the past it'd been appointed by them.
Yes, I did call and confirm. You will
Okay.
make the appointment and it'll be approved by the board.
Oh, okay. Okay, so Community Action Commission, and who would like to, that is vacant, and who would like to serve on that?
I will.
Would you? Okay, we have Ms. Flores serving on that. And then on the Santa Maria school districts and the city, we have Escobedo and Soto serving on that. And would you like to stay on that or change? Like to stay on
I'll
that?
stay.
Okay. And then on the Airport District Board, we have Soto and Escobedo again serving. Do you want to continue serving on that?
I can.
Okay. Got that. That's it?
Yes, I have you making all the motions. I just need a second and we'll do roll call.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, we've got motion and the seconds.
2 seconds.
Roll call.
Mayor Patino?
Aye.
Councilmember Aguilera Hernandez?
Aye.
Councilmember Escobedo?
Aye.
Councilmember Flores?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Soto?
Aye.
Thank you.
Now we'll move on to the consent calendar. Consent calendar. Does anyone have items they wish to pull for discussion?
Madam Mayor, I would
Yes.
like to pull item 13F3.
Okay, anyone else has an item they wish to pull? Okay,
So I'm going to move that we approve the consent calendar with exception of 13F3.
I'll second.
okay, it's been moved and second to approve the consent calendar with the exception of 13F3. Madam Clerk, can you call the roll?
Mayor Patino?
Aye.
Councilmember Escobedo?
Aye.
Councilmember Aguilar Hernandez?
Aye.
Councilmember Flores?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Soto?
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, 13, can you read 13F3 then into the record?
Adoption of a resolution approving a proposed grant of easement to Pacific Gas and Electric for the Rule 20A program.
Okay, Ms. Flores?
Okay, so my question on this item is, how did they pick the area that they needed to do the underground, putting the underground, what do you call it?
To get an
Yes,
easement.
the utility poles underground. So how did you pick that area? Was it because it was in a business area or not in a neighborhood? Because my concern is neighborhoods with all the power lines. I live off of Donovan and I have a bunch of power lines and it's just ridiculous. And the power lines are always, when the winds are blowing and it's raining, I get really, really nervous. I called PG&E, no one comes out. I've called Xfinity, they say it's PG&E. And so here we go. So I was just wondering, not that it's wrong, but I just wondering, how did you come to that consensus of just that area?
Yes, of course. Thank you for your question. I too dislike those power lines and would love nothing more than to see those underground along with the ones on Stoll,
Yes.
et cetera, et cetera. There's actually a resolution back in 2014 that was adopted by the City Council that moved this project forward. So this is a project that's been in the works for, we're in 2025 now. The council adopted it 11 years ago. And so we're now moving this project forward. It's something that was established long ago. Unfortunately, the Rule 20 program has since ceased. The CPUC does not fund it anymore. And so the dollars and the allocations that we have is what we have. And unfortunately, if we don't move the project forward, we lose it. And there's a lot of interest in underground and utilities statewide, and we're one of many on a state list that PG&E has. And so we're seeking to just get this done by 2020 or 2033 before the deadline and take advantage of those that have enacted the program before us.
But how were those areas chosen? That was my question.
Yeah, I'll have to do a little bit more research on that. My
That was
understanding
just
is it was the city center, the downtown core.
Okay.
And, but I'll have to go through and do a little bit more research on the reports. Perhaps others would know a little bit more historical information about that, but,
Not that anything was wrong, but it just kind of like threw up a red flag to me. I was like, wait, what about my area? I started thinking power lines, let's get them down, and I was just wondering how you came to the consensus of just that area.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, that's fine, okay.
So you're
I'm
satisfied
good.
with the answer? Okay, so I'm going to move that we adopt the resolution approving a proposed grant of easement to Pacific Gas and Electric for the Rule 20A program.
And I'll second it.
So motion and a second to adopt 13F2, is that F2? Yeah. F3, I'm sorry. Okay, Madam Clerk, can you please call the roll?
Councilmember Aguilar Hernandez?
Aye.
Councilmember Flores?
Aye.
Councilmember Escobedo?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Soto?
Aye.
And Mayor Patino?
Aye. So item 14. Next, we have a regular business item. It's the annual appointment of Mayor Pro Tem. Madam Clerk, do you have any correspondence or requests to speak?
I do not, Madam Mayor.
Okay, I'd like to bring this item back to the council, and I would like to nominate Councilmember Escobedo as Mayor Pro Tem for the 2025 calendar year. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, can you please call the roll?
Mayor Patino?
Aye.
Councilmember Flores?
Aye.
Councilmember Aguilar Hernandez?
Aye.
Councilmember Escobedo?
Aye.
And Mayor Pro Tem Soto?
Aye. Congratulations.
The next
Thank you.
item will
You
be.
get to be on the radio now.
You have to do the radio tomorrow morning first thing.
Oh, that's right.
7 a.m.
I'll be off by then.
I'm gonna text Ben. I know you're gonna miss me, Ben.
Well, maybe he'll want you to do tomorrow, Ms. Gloria. The next item would be a report by the city manager, Mr. Rollins.
That would be cool.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a couple items. February 4th, the city council meeting is canceled. Our next meeting will be February 18th. We'll be honoring the winter 2025 class of Hometown Heroes. We're having a donation from the Santa Maria Police Council. Looking at the second quarter financial report, including the budget balance and update, and then where we're at with that. Also bringing back approval for the POA contract and the PMA contract for our police unions to take care of. Also, I'd like to, at this time, to introduce our new Community Development Director to the public and City Council, Shannon Dow. Please rise up there. She started January 13th, I believe, and she came from the city of Lancaster. She has a very extensive background in economic development and planning. She did a wonderful job in the interview process, had some great candidates to choose from. I want to thank her for accepting the position and being part of our team. And want to give her a warm welcome for our first council meeting. And again, thanks to everybody. And that's all I have for tonight.
Thank you. So next, we'll have the oral reports of council members. And let's see, we'll start with you, Ms. Soto.
No reportable items.
Okay, Ms. Aguilera Hernandez.
I met with Fighting Back Santa Maria, had a meeting with them, that's all. That's
Okay.
worth noting.
Mr. Escobedo.
Nothing, just want to make a comment, recognition to the Francia team. They donated a ping pong table, maybe you guys saw it up there. They donated a ping pong table to the Santa Maria firefighters so they can have some recreational time. I think it's appreciated, and just want to put it up there. A shout out to my friends, the Francia team.
Thank you. Ms. Flores?
None at this time.
Okay. It seems like this meeting once a month is interesting. Okay. I sort of like it. December 17th, I did the Ben Hayes, and then on the 18th, I met with our federal lobbyist, had a meeting. On the 29th, did the California Alliance of Local Electeds. And on the 8th, Econ Alliance Forum. On January 9th, had a LAFCO meeting. And on the 15th, I attended the Pastors Network Luncheon. On January 16th, I attended SBCAG meeting in the morning, City Selection Committee meeting at noon, and the APCD meeting in the afternoon. And then this last weekend, our Rotary Club, in conjunction with another Rotary Club, I think, and our fire chief was there. We got so many donations, and I know I did a shift at 12 o'clock, and I figured there wouldn't be too much there by the time I got there. And there was just mounds of clothing and shoes and toys for kids. And when I left there after my shift, there was still mounds of all this stuff. And then on Sunday, we collected again, and I guess we had to turn people away because we just had too much. So Nancy Crawford, our Rotary president, thought we could take everything down in about 2 or 3 vans that she has, and so we had to rent a U-Haul truck. And I don't know if we rented 1 or 2, but this community is so giving. And it's really, really great what Santa Maria did. And the Rotary wasn't the only organizations doing anything. There were other organizations also. But thank you very much. So if no further business, this meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.